Okay, y'all. This is Mr. Melvin, your instructor at Western Oklahoma State College, and this video presentation is on the microscope and how to use a microscope. Okay, so this microscope here, this is an oil immersion power microscope. It's a light microscope. You'll notice that it has a cover on it. You always want to make sure that your microscope is covered to keep your objective lens from getting dirty. So I'll go ahead and pull that off so you can see the microscope in its entirety and its different parts. So bear with me because I'm videoing with one hand and recording and manipulating this with the other. Okay, so here we have the microscope in its entirety. And I want to go through and identify a couple of parts on it that you need to have some competency on. Okay, so first things first, here in the back, this section of the microscope is known as the arm, okay? And down here, this is the base, okay? These are the most important parts of the microscope because this is where you handle and carry the microscope. You'll use two arms. One hand should grab the arm of the microscope, while your other hand should be placed underneath the base of the microscope to ensure for its safe transport. Okay, they're very, very expensive pieces of equipment and very easy to damage. So you want to make sure that you use two hands while manipulating one. Okay, now for the parts of the microscope, okay, I'm going to kind of start top to bottom for you here. Okay, up here, these are the ocular lens. Okay, these are the ocular lens, and the ocular lens, this is where you look through your specific specimen with these ocular lens. They are adjustable, so that way you can adjust them to fit your face, if you will, depending on how close or how far apart your eyes are, and you can see the different adjustments there and how you can adjust it. Typically, you want to start with your adjustment at around 64 degrees, so right about there, and then kind of adjust from there for your own particular needs. Okay, this microscope up here does have a camera. Most microscopes don't, but this one has a camera that will show you what's being viewed on the stage at any particular time. So I'll talk to you about that in just a moment. Okay. Beneath the ocular lens, you have the rotating nose. This is known as the nose, and this is how you rotate your objective lens, okay? And if you look closely, there are 4 different objective lens on this light microscope because this is what's known as an oil immersion light microscope, okay? So I want to start with the first one. Whenever you place your specimen up here on this level, this is known as the stage. This is where you place specimens to be viewed. You're going to start with this first power denoted 4, okay? That's 4 times magnification, okay? But that's almost misleading because any magnification that you see on your objective lens is going to be multiplied by 10, okay? So if you take 4 times 10, this is really 40 times magnification, and this is also referred to as your scanning objective power, okay? And once you have your slide on there, I'll go ahead and place a slide on there now, okay? This here is known as a slide. It has a specimen that's been placed on it and covered up with what's known as a cover slip. So it's a smaller piece of glass in the middle. It's known as a cover slip. And then the entire thing is going to be your slide. Okay, so you'll place your slide onto the stage and secure it in place like so. And you'll turn on your microscope with your power button. You have your light here, which is where your light passes through to enter this centerpiece known as the diaphragm. Okay, over here we have our adjustments to make horizontal and vertical adjustments for the specimen. So you want to make sure that your specimen is lined up in the middle of the diaphragm where the light is there. Okay. Now, a couple of other things. You can see this is our light adjustment here. This increases the amount of light as well as decreases the amount of light. Okay, important to note that more light does not necessarily mean better image. Okay, and then with some of your more advanced microscopes, you'll see an additional selection where you can additionally modify the amount of light that passes through your specimen on the stage. Okay, now back to focusing. You're starting with your lowest power, which is going to be the scanning objective power. And what you'll use once you have your image, once you have your specimen placed on the slide, you'll come over to the set of knobs. And there are two knobs here. And this outer knob, this is known as the coarse adjustment knob. Okay, so this is where you make your major adjustments. And you only use this coarse adjustment knob when you are at the scanning objective power, which is the 4 or 40 times magnification. Okay, so once your object has come into view using the scanning objective power by adjusting the coarse knob, okay, you'll then move up to the next power, okay, which is denoted 10. You should see the 10 there. It's on the other side. I want to make sure that you see it. Cut down some of that light. Okay, and there's 10 right there. Okay, so this is 10 times or 100 times magnification. And then once you're at 100 times magnification, instead of using the coarse adjustment knob, you're now going to use the fine adjustment knob. And this is where you're making fine adjustments to cause your image to come into focus. Okay, and then from here, the procedure kind of becomes redundant. You'll then move up to 40 times power. Remember, it's 40 times 10, so this is 400 times magnification. And you'll do the same thing. You'll refer back to your fine adjustment knob, and you'll make adjustments as necessary until your image that you're viewing through the ocular lens appears in focus. Okay, now, this next power at 100 times power, remember this is 100 times 10, so this is 1,000 times magnification. This is our oil immersion power, okay? So in order to use oil immersion, what you'll need is immersion oil, okay? And here in this bag, I have some immersion oil. Let me show you how to use it when working with an oil immersion light microscope. Okay, so I'm gonna set my phone down real quickly while I get that out and get it ready and show you how to work it. Okay, so here I have immersion oil for the microscope. And when you're getting ready to go to oil immersion power, you just need a very, very small drop of immersion oil. And what that does is that binds to the lens of the oil immersion powered lens when you switch to that high power in order to better clarify whatever image you're viewing. Now I'm just kind of doing this on the fly with one hand. So if you look closely, you'll notice that the oil immersion lens and the slide is not in contact. And normally, if I was doing this properly, they would be in contact, but I really can't manipulate it with both hands, okay? Now, what's important to note is whenever you are at any power other than the scanning objective power at 4, you only want to use your fine adjustment knob, okay? So here at the scanning power, this is appropriate to go ahead and use your coarse adjustment, okay? But when you move up to higher powers, okay, at this point, you only want to use your fine adjustment knob. And this is because your slide and your objective lens are in such close proximity. If you use coarse adjustment, you could possibly crack your slide and your specimen and cause damage to the diaphragm. Okay, so this is important why you only want to use fine adjustment at any power higher than the scanning objective power. Okay, and this has been a basic video on the parts of the microscope and how to appropriately use a microscope.